Hi, welcome to Hecate's Hearth. I'm going to do a collective message from Bastet. All right, Bastet. What is the collective message I need to give to the collective? So I'm specifically thinking of, and maybe because I just prayed to her, but I'm feeling like I need to share this experience I had. Maybe you guys have lost beloved pets. Maybe that's what this message is going to be about. I don't know. Maybe we have heartbreak, conflict, defeat. Some of you might be feeling really deflated or heartbroken. So maybe Bastet is going to bring an uplifting message. Disappointment, loss. Yeah, so I think I'm going to share this with you. So I lost 2 beloved kitties last year, and I started working with Bastet after my first cat passed away, Cairo. He was 12. I found him paralyzed. He had a tumor on his spine. And it was when I received his ashes that I began working with Bastet. And I kind of made a little memorial space for him with her statue by his ashes. And then later in that year, my other kitty, Oreo, passed. He was 14. And when they both passed, I anointed their bodies. I dressed them the same way. I anointed them with frankincense and myrrh and herbs and wrapped them in saris that had been blessed by goddess energies at a temple. And when Oreo passed, I'd already been working with Bastet. So I dressed his body and wrapped him up, and I placed him in front of Bastet's little shrines / my memorial for Cairo. And I had this big giant cat tower next to it. And after Cairo passed, another thing to explain is I adopted 3 kitties from the shelter. 2 were a bonded pair. And when I began praying to Bastet to ask him to take care of Oreo and help him in the afterlife, all 3 of the kitties ran up on the cat tower and were leaning over because I have the little shrine right next to it. And they all started chattering in response. So if you've lost a pet, just know that you can communicate with them, that there is life after death, that there is a continuation of the soul, and that they're protected, loved, and safe. Yeah, this is a lot of heavy energy. I keep splitting the deck too. So whoever's tuning in, whoever's message this is for, you're going through a difficult time. Yeah, you may have dealt with a loss here, and it may not have been an easy loss. They may have not went in peace. My 2 cats did not go in peace, and the vets out here are so terrible and were not good at doing their job at helping me make that decision. And I was bringing them a lot, except for Oreo, because after the experience with the vets, I didn't want to go through that, and it was late at night anyway, and there's no 24-hour vets out here. So you may have lost a loved one, whether it be a pet or a family member, and they didn't go easy. This is gonna be a heavy one. Oh, I'm like trying not to cry. Okay, so you may need to let go of guilt around making the wrong decisions. Especially when it's a pet, it's hard to make that call to get them euthanized. And if you have a good vet, they can help you make that decision in the right time to prevent suffering. And if you're dealing with the death of a human family member, don't think we make decisions. I don't know how that works. But there may be guilt there in some aspect. And so there's a need to be gracious with yourself because it's just overall a hard situation to deal with. It's not easy. And so you need to give yourself grace and forgiveness and be at peace and know that your loved one is at peace. What is the truth? I don't know. I need a minute to gather myself. Yeah, whoever's tuning in, if this is your pile, you're having a difficult moment dealing with a loss, or whether recent or in the past year. Yeah, it was a really painful loss, or they went in a painful way. Okay, let's see if we can get more information of this message that's coming through from Bastet. Bastet's also a very loving, nurturing energy. She represents the domestic home in nurturing. So knowing that your loved one did feel the nurturing and love that came from you, that you gave them, and to know that that is what they remember. Okay, this could have been a sudden, unexpected death. Okay, one in which they were really holding on and fighting. Oh, sorry, this is a difficult one. You're still feeling the heartbreak and the grief. Damn, I was feeling all day like Bastet wanted me to do a reading, and I was kind of putting it off, and I almost didn't do it. Now I see why. Yeah, to me, when I see this card in a death reading, they went painfully, they went difficult, but they have victory in the afterlife. They want you to know that they're okay, and they want you to be okay. Ooh. Bastet, what else do you have? You may be still really holding on to this grief and heartache. What other messages do you have for us, Bastet? Because this is definitely for me as well, as whoever is tuning in. Yeah, there's a deep spiritual connection. Yes, we can have deep spiritual connections with our pets. With our loved ones. Some of you may have lost a partner, a life partner. They're still with you in spirit. Yeah, there's a love, a deep emotional bond. They're working behind the scenes. For some of you, your pets or loved one are working behind the scenes. They're working as maybe some type of spirit guide or guardian. They're working with your other spirit guides or ancestors to bring something about for you, something that's going to be a blessing. There's a need for you to rest and heal, maybe get into meditation, maybe lying in the ground and connecting with the earth. And it's also a message that, again, they're at peace, that they were freed from whatever burden, and that you need to also free yourself from whatever burden you're carrying from this. Hang on, I need to get a tissue. It's time to move on and be at peace, or to trust that they have moved on and been at peace. I'm still not sure what the King of Wands is. Maybe it's Archangel Michael or some other being that helped your loved one. The Moon. So yeah, you still have a lot of intense emotions around this. What else do we have, Bastet? It's time for your heart to be at peace and to heal. And to know that you can communicate whenever you want to your loved ones. You might be having dreams, or they may communicate to you through dreams, or you may be going through a healing process with this loss in your dreams. For some of you, they've passed over completely into the other side and are preparing for a new life. But again, for others of you, they've stayed behind to be a guardian or a guide. Some of them might be working with Archangel Michael to protect you. Okay, let me get into this deck. Yeah, they're there for you to communicate with, or they might be trying to communicate with you in some way at this time, especially since I was called to do this reading today. They may have been on your mind a lot this week, and whenever they're on your mind, that's a sign they're trying to connect with you and for you to reach out and connect with them on the other side. What is the message you have coming through, Bastet? Okay, this connection and love and bond that you shared is still there. And you need to allow yourself to cry and let it out. I need to follow that advice too, but I don't want to cry on camera, so I have to hold it in. I had to shove it down so I could. It's like in my throat now. You know how you shove down a cry and then you get that knot in your throat? That's what I got going on right now. You have a good outcome. Yeah, look at the doves. Like, they're at peace. They're in a good place. They were with you for the time they were meant to be with you. Some they might come back to you like reborn if you're going to have any children. Okay, they might reincarnate. Scythe. Yeah, it was their time. And so if there's any guilt of like, oh, maybe there's something I could have done and they could still be here, it was their time. Sorrow. Gift. Damn it. Okay, so seeing like the time you had with them as a gift and having gratitude for the time that you had with your loved one. I literally procrastinated all day. I was getting the call to do this reading like I want to say since like around 11 or 12. It is almost 8 o'clock. And I almost didn't do it, but I kept coming into my mind. Bastet wants to give a message. You need to light a candle to Bastet and do a message. So I'm like, okay, Bastet, what else do you want to say through the cards or through me? There are spiritual beings that you can call on to comfort you. You don't have to work through this alone. And it doesn't have to be Bastet. It could be any being. It could be Jesus even. When Cairo passed, I was praying St. Michael prayer, and when it was getting really bad, and I did rush him. I rushed him twice to the animal place. Had to pay extra for the after hours for them to meet me there to put him in the oxygen chamber. And it sucks because they don't have 24-hour care, and he was there in the dark by himself. But right before I took him the last time, I wasn't trying to visualize Jesus. I don't pray to him often. I'm not a Christian, but I do have a view of him. Like, I think he was a mystic. I think he was an enlightened being. And I kept seeing this image of Jesus holding my cat. And I also had an image I also saw an owl, not an image. I saw it in my backyard. I never see owls in my backyard. And it was like days leading up to this. And this went on for a couple weeks of me taking care of him and like putting the IV in and all this stuff, and manually helping him go to the bathroom, and because he was paralyzed. One of the very early mornings as dawn was breaking, I looked out my back window and I saw an owl, and I just started bawling because I knew what that meant. Why did I go off on that? Why did I start talking about that? I don't know, but oh yeah, because it was the message from Bastet that there are beings you can call on to help comfort you, and whoever that may be that you're called to. Doesn't have to be Bastet or Jesus. Could be any, spirit that you're called to, or being, deity, angel. Dealing's a relationship with a woman. So it could be a female spirit that a lot of you are drawn to, a female goddess to help you comfort, that you are thinking of. That would be a good help in dealing with healing from grief or heartache. Before I started calling on Bastet, when I got Cairo's ashes, after Cairo died, I set up a big thing with candles and crystals, and I was praying to Aphrodite to help heal all of our hearts. And it was a really beautiful moment where I was crying, and I had my head on Simba's, was it on Simba's head or by Simba's head? And then Oreo came over and put his head, we all had our heads together, like we were all grieving together. So it could even be a deity like Aphrodite. Of course, Bastet is feminine. What else? Is that the only card that wants to come out of here? I guess so. Whoops. I feel like I'm really getting like the energy of Bastet from that woman card. Okay, some of you may want to call on Bastet to help comfort you, or to help you connect with your passed on pets, or you could even work with her to help you connect with your passed on loved ones. I mean, she is a deity that rules over the domestic household and family and the home. What message Bastet you have for us? What else needs to come through? I imagine this was going to be a short reading. I was like, okay, so it's going to be, let's make it like a 10-minute reading. But I also didn't expect it to be so intense. Okay, we'll take those. We have boundaries. Oh my goodness. I've always thought this about Cairo, and it's interesting that I chose to name him Cairo. I know I've had past lives in Egypt. So you guys had a past life connection, or you had many lives with this pet or this loved one. Yeah, they're protecting you with the boundaries. They're helping to be a part of your spiritual defense. You may have protected them in a past life, and they're returning the favor of protecting you. Okay, you may have had a past life in ancient Egypt. I mean, you are clicking on a message from Bastet reading. You were drawn to it. Okay, what else does Bastet want to give or tell the collective? And look, it is a cat on this boundaries card. Okay, some of you may have had a black cat. It doesn't have to be. My kitties were not black cats. I do have a black cat now. We have Cancer, the caring. So yeah, this is all about the emotions. Oh, this is fitting for Bastet because it's all about nurturing and taking care of, and like domestic household, the mother, you know, taking care of the house, cleaning, cooking, nurturing, taking care of. That's totally Bastet. She does have a protective aspect as well. And actually, I was doing some learning about her, I don't know, a couple of months ago, and I stumbled across learning her connection with Sekhmet. That Sekhmet is, oh, I forget which one's the older and newer. It's either Sekhmet comes out of her or she is born out of Sekhmet. Like they're connected to each other, like they're really the same deity or energy. They're like just different aspects, kind of like how Kali Ma comes out of Durga's third eye. But I'm a little fuzzy on the details because I just read about it that one time and haven't looked at it since or committed it to memory. But Sekhmet is like the more fierce and protective warrior aspect, and Bastet is more domestic. Also, she's asking you to nurture yourself, and nurture, especially like when you're really feeling it, you're feeling that grief or sadness, to do something nurturing for yourself. Make yourself something nice to eat or something like that. Go get a massage. We have spirituality and art. So to dive into your spirituality more or expression through art to help heal, to help you get through the grieving process. We have Aquarius. So look at all the water. I was going to say earlier, you may want to do a ritual bath. I feel like I say that all the time. Yeah, you may want to cleanse, get into the ritual bath to help you get your emotions out, to cleanse, to heal. Drinking more water helps as well. Drinking teas. I was drinking a lot of hibiscus tea, and I ran out of the hawthorn, the traditional medicinal hawthorn. But you could do a mix if you want to focus on heart healing. These are the herbs. This is what I would make for the ultimate heart healing tea if I had all the herbs on hand. I would do hibiscus with rose or rose hip. Rose hip would be better, tastier, I mean. So you could do rose and or rose hip, hibiscus, hawthorn, and raspberry leaf. That makes a really good heart healing tea. You can even add some cherries in it too, just to make it even yummier. And yes, you can use fruit in tea, like fresh fruit, like boil it all in a pot and then strain it, and honey. So drinking tea to help heal your heart chakra, working with rose quartz, working with selenite, working with the moon energy, bathing in the moon. One thing I used to do that I would like to do again is sitting in the full moon with tea and drinking tea while gazing at the moon and just bathing in the moon and appreciating it. And this kind of is reminding me of like the heart chakra right there, that little flower. So maybe working with mantras or these seed symbols. Yeah, so diving into your spirituality, taking care of yourself, nurturing, healing with water. And also, too, focusing on what you want to bring into your life, what you want to manifest, what your dreams are for your future. And you have a lot of support around you from all of your past on loved ones, ancestors um, that are surrounding you. And I feel like what I was saying to you earlier about them collaborating and working together behind the scenes to bring about good blessings into your life, as well as to protect you. Okay, so that's the message from Bastet today. Thank you so much for anyone that tuned in. If this resonated, leave me a black cat or whatever emoji you want to leave or whatever comment you want to leave. If this resonated, leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you want to be a part of my collective and grow with me on this channel. And I wish you all the healing and love. And yeah, take care of yourself, let yourself cry. And yeah, if this resonated for you, I feel for you. And I think we've all lost somebody. Maybe there's people who haven't lost anyone yet, but whoever picked this pile, you're feeling it heavy right now, and in particular in the last week. And also, too, one more thing before I end it that's coming to mind is that when that happens, it's actually your passed on loved one wanting to connect in some way. It's them wanting to connect with you. Also, if you have pets and they're looking up in like a corner and you're thinking of your passed on loved one, they're probably up in that corner because I've had that happen. I'm like, what are you guys looking at? And I'd be thinking of my kitties. Okay, is that it before we go? Any more messages? That's it. Okay. All right. Goodbye and blessed be. Have a beautiful night and take care. And see you next time. Bye.